Okay guys, welcome back. This FAQ I'm going to go ahead and finish up with those personal questions some people wrote to me, and I'll go ahead and answer those right now. We'll start with Dear Chocolate Bear. Okay, Dear Chocolate Bear asks, number one, how did you get interested in Japan? Why this country and the Japanese language? How did I get interested in Japan? Well, I actually researched quite a bit about working overseas, about teaching overseas, before I ever even decided to take a trip to Japan. And I researched Europe, I researched other parts of Asia, and what it came down to was Japan, in the end, looked like it would be the biggest challenge because I would be forced to learn a language. The literacy and English speaking rate here was one of the lowest in the entire world. And so I knew I couldn't just go there and easily get by speaking English. And I wanted to kind of force myself into learning a new language because I thought it would better develop my character and further my education. So I took on Japan. I guess why this country and the Japanese language? Well, I pretty much explained why this country. The Japanese language is extremely interesting, and it's listed as one of the hardest languages to learn in the world, aside from Arabic and actually English are the other two that are really hard to learn. So I didn't want just to take on something. I know a little bit of Spanish, I know a little bit of German. I don't speak them fluently, but I felt like when I had started to study those, they were pretty simple to learn. They weren't too far removed from English, but Japanese is, anyone who studied it, you know how far removed it is from English and how much different the sentence structure and grammatical rules are. So I wanted a real challenge when it came to learning a language. Number two, do you like anime? If yes, what is your favorite one? Yeah, I like anime. I wouldn't say I'm an otaku like some people. I don't really watch, anime every day or even every month for that matter. My number one, I guess it's a manga that has been made into an anime. It's called Gantz, and that's Gantz. I don't know if many of you have read or looked at that one. It's one of my favorite, though, all times. Ultra violent and dark, but a really amazing stories behind all of it. What's next? Number three, have you ever experienced a big or not so big earthquake while in Japan? What did you do? I think I talked about this in a past FAQ. I didn't experience a big earthquake. There was a smaller earthquake. Well, not that small. To the point nothing got brutally destroyed. In Kobe, there was a pretty big earthquake. And in Osaka, we felt the aftershocks, and even those were pretty hard. And like I said, it actually shook my building back and forth so hard it felt like someone was holding the top of the building and shaking it back and forth, and there was rocks coming off of the top of the roof on the building and going down the sides, and you could see the windows shaking. And it happened at about 6 a.m., so I was still asleep. I woke up to it, and I saw my light on the ceiling swinging back and forth. And pretty much what did I do? Since I was still half asleep, I wasn't that alarmed. I was a little bit confused as to what is happening because I was still groggy. So I just laid there and waited for it to stop. And I was okay. Maybe not the exciting story you had hoped for. Our next one comes from another user. I hope I say it right. Anuva Generic User. I think he was joking around when he asked this, but he asked, what's your blood type? And actually, that's a really important question in Japan. You get asked that a lot. And my blood type is B. And depending on your blood type, it's the same thing as asking somebody's sign or horoscope in America. And blood type B is supposed to be really selfish and but good at imagining ideas, being creative and coming up with new ideas. So I don't know if that fits me directly. I don't know how many of my friends would say I'm really selfish, but maybe I am. Number 5 comes from Gaijin 140. I'm wondering if you took the JLPT. If so, which level are you now? For those of you who don't know, the JLPT is a test which actually shows how good you are at Japanese, and you can actually receive a certificate from it that you can show at jobs that prove your level of Japanese. So I know some of you have said, well, what jobs do I need to have really good Japanese for? And I told you pretty much anything that's not teaching English. But you probably wonder, if I go to the interview, if I just speak Japanese, is that good enough? No, actually, most of them will ask to see a certificate of what level of the JLPT you've passed, so that they know your reading level is high too. Um, there's 4 levels, and 4 is actually the lowest level of the test. It's called the Yonkyu, and it goes from Yonkyu all the way up to the EQ. Okay, and if you can pass the highest level, the first level, the EQ test, then your skills are amazing. You're almost probably better, probably know more kanji, and probably speak better Japanese than some Japanese people. But as long as you can pass at least the second level, you can actually get a job that's a Japanese speaking job. So right now, have I taken the test? No, I have not taken it. I'm continuing to study for the Nikyu, the second level of the test, and that is somewhere around 1,500 kanji you have to know before you even take that test. Do I know 1,500 kanji? No, probably about 600. Alright, next one is from Soccer Rocks 15. Are you planning to change to Japanese citizenship when you've lived there for 7 years? That's a good question. I'm not totally 100% sure I'm going to do that. I can apply for what's called a resident visa as well and get resident status, which is not quite the same as citizenship, but allows you to leave and enter the country without having to get a pass, and also doesn't require you to constantly update your visa. So I may just apply for that. Will I get citizenship? Well, I do plan to stay for as long as I possibly can, for forever if I can. I hope to stay here forever. Maybe. And last one here, Jezebel Peeps. Have you ever met a Yakuza? Have I ever met a Yakuza? Yes, I have met Yakuza before. Our encounter was not that exciting. I've met them at different bars that I've gone to in the middle of downtown, at tattoo shops before. Really, they're not, I think they have this image of being, crazy gun-toting mafia who, have little to no moral code, but to be honest, they're pretty relaxed and calm. And they're most people you'd think that they're pretty racist or, pretty disgruntled when it comes to gaijin, but for the most part, all the ones I've met have been pretty happy to meet a gaijin, and actually even some have asked to have their picture taken with me just because I think I have tattoos. And if any of you know, the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza, are loaded up with tattoos, usually almost full body suits, by the time they've made it to a high level in their mafia. Well, I don't know how it translates into English, but they call it a kai. It always ends with a kai. In their group, I'll just say in their group, because there's different groups of Yakuza. So that's it for those personal questions. I don't think I'll be answering any more for a long time unless someone comes up with some really good ones, because like I said, I like to keep most things private, and all those were really good because they didn't really delve too deep. They didn't ask me too personal questions. I know a lot of you asked me a lot of stuff about my girlfriend and stuff like that, but that's one thing that I'm going to say, yeah, it's going to stay my business. I don't really share any information on any other people besides myself, because that's their choice if they want to share that. Thanks for watching, though, and thanks for those questions. They were really good. I'll see you next time on FAQ.